Imagine this being your life, right? You live in one country, wholesaling properties in a totally different country while traveling the world and doing it all at the same time, making a great living and having fun doing it and documenting it on social media. That is the person that I have next to me. His name is Nathan Harris. He's from Canada, virtually wholesaling in Florida while traveling the world. This is going to be a really, really cool podcast. I have a bunch of questions lined up for this guy. And first and foremost, Nathan, thank you for coming on here. Really, really appreciate your time.
Thank you, bro. I'll keep it a buck with you. I've like started doing podcasts like a while ago. I started doing podcasts and like I know what work goes into it. So I'm thankful for your time as well, and I'm more than happy to support you in this mission. And I loved looking at some of the other podcasts, like for example with Matthew Justice. I'm like, look at this guy go! Like I love it, bro. So thank you as well for having me.
Oh, of course, man. The pleasure is mine. The pleasure is mine. So I already kind of explained a little bit about what you do, but I feel like the people may want to hear it from your mouth. Tell me a little bit about your background and what you do.
Yeah. So I make money every single month from this hunk of metal right in front of me. And I have an option. I can either stay at home or I can travel the world and make money from anywhere in the world. So the way that came to be is life is really expensive in Canada. And I'm like, okay, so I have a 2-bedroom basement apartment in Canada. I've had it for like 3 years. And life is really expensive and like, it's not that glamorous. So I'm like, wait a minute, I literally make money from my laptop. Why am I staying at home here in this dingy basement and wholesaling from this dingy basement when I can go anywhere in the world and still make money? So that's really what got me into traveling. I've been to many countries in the past 12 months. Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Bali, Indonesia, Playa del Carmen, Mexico, Salinas, Ecuador, Medellin, Colombia, other places that I'm forgetting. But yeah, it's pretty cool, bro. It's a good life. And, you know, the thing is like, this is within reach of everybody. The big the big difference between people that actually achieve it and people that don't achieve it is a lot of people just quit too early, right? My personal value and my belief is persistence is your insurance policy against failure. And like, you can totally have this too, but if you quit, you're not going to have it. So even if it takes you a year, 2 years, 3 years, man, that's the rest of your life. The freedom for the rest of your life, bro. 3 years, worst case scenario, that's still a really good trade.
Right. To live the dream life you have. I mean, 3 years dedicating to building out the life that you have to be able to live it for the next 50, 60, 70. I mean, there's no other better return on investment for your personal well-being and your personal happiness. There's nothing else that you could trade and get that type of return for your own personal benefit in your life.
And, you know, I think a big thing that I'm really passionate about is lifestyle design. So some people, like one person asked me the other day, he's like, do you really like working? He pretty much said, he's like, I freaking hate working. I show up and I push through and I'm miserable and I hate working, but I do it because I want to make money. And then he asked me, he's like, do you like working? And I'm like, yeah, I actually love working. I love waking up in the morning and I love doing this. I love calling people. I love making deals happen. I love getting on social media and connecting with people and helping people. And that's because I designed a lifestyle that I enjoy. So obviously I'm a yellow. If you guys know what I mean, you know what I mean, with the personality traits. I love talking to people. So that's part of my lifestyle. That's part of my work. I love documenting and sharing and being enthusiastic. So I made that part of it. I love traveling. Dude, I literally made that part of my business is traveling. So hopefully the IRS doesn't watch this, but legitimately, I figured out a way that I can travel as a business expense and it's totally deductible on my taxes because I make affiliate income through people signing up for products and services that I'm affiliated with that help them get to success a lot faster. And how do I bring people into my atmosphere? Lifestyle content. So travel the world and record it.
I love it. I love it. From my time talking with you, I'm getting two sides. I'm getting a very free-spirited, very adventurous type of personality, but I'm also getting this duality with you being just very also disciplined and very, I guess, locked in to what you're trying to do. Talk to me about how you started. So you can start back from either when you were a young kid or when you first got into real estate. I want to hear how you were able to develop your business into what it is today. So take us all the way back to the beginning and talk to us about your start.
Okay, so why don't we start in 8th grade? So in 8th grade, I was still in elementary school. I was about to go to high school, and I was very entrepreneurial, right? I was selling pop. I was back then it was really easy to like fix iPhone screens. So I was like doing like screen swaps on people's iPhones and like making them colors that nobody else would have. I had a debit card. I was like ordering people things online and upcharging them for it. Doing all kinds of cool stuff like that, jailbreaking iPhones, things like that to make a profit. So I really like got my entrepreneurial bug back then. I'll be very honest. I'm a super transparent dude. And tell me if I get a little too transparent, but I'll be honest. This one day just sent me in a very interesting direction. So I was selling pop out of my locker, P-O-P. Here in Canada, we call it pop. In America, you might call it soda. But there was a bit of a misunderstanding. So the principal thought I was selling pot out of my locker. Now, I didn't know what pot was at the time, but that opened my eyes to a whole new business. So this was the end of public school when I learned about pot and the lucrative nature of pot. So go into high school, I, started selling pot and, other things like that. And I turned it into a very, very good business. But I was like watching all my friends, and this story could go very deep, so I'll kind of glaze over it really quick. I was watching all my friends go down, right? Whether that's, self-defeat through consuming drugs and alcohol and engaging in bad behavior, whether that was like them getting arrested or even, graphically, I don't know how to not say it, but them getting murdered. And I was like, this is really, really bad. And I didn't know that it was going to be that bad getting into it. So I'm like, how do I this is not sustainable. I gotta quit doing this. But how do I continue to be an entrepreneur in a legal way that's sustainable, that I can, talk about without, getting robbed, shot, or arrested? And the next business that I started, I tried many other businesses. I tried day trading. I'm pretty sure that's a scam. I tried drop shipping. I think that's legit, but I just gave up too early. I tried a gumball machine. I barely even tried that actually, and I gave up on that. I tried digital marketing. I actually studied digital marketing for about a year, and this was really interesting for me because once I learned digital marketing and I started to shop myself out to other businesses, I'm like, wait a minute. If I'm actually as good as I'm telling them I am, and if I actually believe that I'm a worthwhile investment for them, why would I do it for them? Why not do it for myself? Why not build my own thing? If I'm actually good enough for them to pay me, why not build my own shit? So at that time, I was working construction jobs. I've always worked construction jobs on and off since I was 14. It's a good source of income. I just, I'm good at it. So I was working construction jobs, and I have this spinal issue. So I have scoliosis. Now I have really bad scoliosis. It goes 66 degrees to the right and 54 degrees to the left. It's really fucked, for lack of better terms. And my doctor said, look, your spine is compressing more and more every single time you see me. And if you continue doing construction, this is going to be your downfall. You're going to have to get surgery. You're going to have to get rods put in your spine. Literally, they'll cut your back open. They'll freaking straighten it out, put rods in your spine, and then fuse your entire spine together so that it's all one stiff thing. So I'm like, yo, I do not want that, right? I want to be able to bend over and touch my toes. So she's like, you got to stop this construction. You got to stop, doing heavy work, labor, materials. You're going to be done in no time. So I stopped, and I was on in Canada, they give you employment insurance. So you got a little bit of a buffer for you to figure your shit out. And I'm like, damn, I better get back into this real estate wholesaling, because I dabbled with it in the past. And I got back into it. And, in getting back into it, I also had the new data set in my brain of how to do digital marketing. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna create a brand around Nathan figuring out this wholesaling thing. And you know, if wholesaling isn't legitness, then I'm gonna document my series and be able to prove that it wasn't legitness, but I gave it a good shot. And if it is, then I'm gonna have a pretty freaking epic series of like how Nathan built his business from scratch. And I literally live streamed every single day, Monday to Friday, of me building this business from scratch. And it's super cringy. You can go on my YouTube channel and like watch the first episodes, but it turns out, you know, wholesaling isn't a scam and it actually works and you can actually make money.
So how did you figure out about wholesaling? Because you said that you had experience with it in the past and then you got back into it. How did you learn about it? Like who was it? How was it? And did you, when you first started, take any action towards getting to do your first steps and getting your first deal?
Yeah, so YouTube. I don't remember exactly who I came across first, but it was all YouTube. I was just researching like how to make money fast. And you know, you kind of just fall into this realm of like wholesaling, e-commerce, day trading. Like you get exposed to all those things. So I tried wholesaling in the past a decent amount of time ago. And it took me 8 months to close my first deal. I was really half-assed, you know, doing it. It took me 8 months to close my first deal, and I made a measly $1,500. I'm like, what the heck, man? I was in a really crappy market, so that has a lot to play with it. But
what market were you in?
Cleveland, Ohio, and that is like the most depressed market you can get into. Like everybody's leaving. Like you'll find like 5-6 houses abandoned on a street. But you know what's interesting, bro? Actually, the other day, I was talking with Zach Jin. You know Zach Jin, right?
Oh yeah,
Dude, he's blown up a lot on YouTube, and he's like, is that Nathan Harris? And I'm like, yeah, it is. He's like, dude, do you remember me commenting on your videos when you first started? And dude, he like posted a link to this like cringy video in the comment, and I'm like, wow, like it really made me reflect that if you stay consistent, you can build a lot. So he started at the same time as I first dabbled in it, but he stayed consistent, right? And what he's built, absolutely amazing. I gave up for a little bit. I had a really long break in between getting back into it. When I had that health scare with my spine, that's when I got back into it. He built something really, really big. And now I'm only like a year and a half of being consistent when he has like, you know, like 4 years or whatever.
And so the timeline for this, when did you, what year was it that you started learning about wholesaling? And you said you got your first deal 8 months later, right?
Yeah, I think it was like 2021
Okay.
that I first started learning about it and then got my first deal like 8 months later. And then, oh dude, bro, you know what happened in that in-between phase? A lot of life stuff happened, bro. There's a bit of a longer story behind it, but dude, I suffered with homelessness in that in-between period. Like I was literally 22 years old, and then, you know, everything was perfectly fine. I was renting a room, you know, things were going well. My sister, she had an abusive boyfriend, and I allowed her to stay in my room. And I was gonna go stay with family because, you know, I was like, you know, I gotta help my sister out. It's the right thing to do. And then, of course, because I had a rough childhood, grew up in foster care and whatnot, my family, it was like 3 days in, and they're like, yeah, we don't want you. And then I'm like, shit, wait a minute. I got nowhere to rest my head. And boom, all of a sudden I was homeless. And bro, I literally spent like a year trying to recover from that during COVID. Um, just to make it even more interesting of a story. So my plan was get a car, get a job, get a house, right? So I get a car, right? And I have my first day of work, okay? And I didn't even like literally my first day of work was immediately after I managed to, you know, get this car. So I didn't even have time to like insure it and whatnot. So I just slapped some plates from my old car onto this new car, and I drive to work, bro. And I have a really, really fantastic first day of work, right? And this is a stepping stone to like me getting out of homelessness. And on my way back, I'm in Canada and I'm driving. I'm going like 70 kilometers an hour. No, the speed limit was 70. I was speeding, going way over 70 kilometers an hour. And I hit this snowdrift and I flipped my car, not rolled. I literally flipped it end over end. And it pushed, the roof caved in and it pushed down on my head. And I fractured C7 in my neck, bro. And just like that, I was like, yo, it can't get any worse. Like, it can't get any worse than this. Like, now I'm fucking helpless and I'm homeless. Like, I can't even get up to take a piss. So
When
that was,
was
go
this
ahead.
when you're doing your surgeries?
No. So we didn't end up doing the surgery. We were able to avoid it, but
Okay.
this was when I was homeless and I was like trying to like get my shit back together and, get back into like just building my life up.
Right.
And this was like such a pivotal, humbling moment for me because I spent about 2 weeks, bro, literally like just done. Like I fractured C7 in my neck. I could still walk and whatnot, but like I literally fractured the C7, as well as like, compressed my spine and whatnot. Um, and I was like, literally, I had to lay in a bed for like 2 weeks, and I could barely get up. Like I got stronger and stronger over time. Like it was like so humiliating, and like it just like forced me to like sit there and think, like, dude, I couldn't even hold the phone above my head. Like it was like that bad. Um, so I realized I'm like, wait a minute, like it literally can't get any worse than this. Like what I thought was rock bottom was not rock bottom, and then I fractured my neck, and I'm like, okay, like I don't think I can get any worse than this. So after that, just got back to the plan. Like I healed up. It took me a really long time. It took me like a year and some to like get all the way out of the homelessness because of that. But got a new car. Actually managed to get that job back. I literally just was fully transparent with my employer, and like he ended up like taking me back on afterwards. Saved up money, got a rental, and then once I got that rental, I left that employer and I started to do construction on my own. And that's when my doctor was like, yo, no bueno, this is not going to work. And that's where I'm like, okay, damn. Well, might as well go do that real estate thing again.
Yeah. And so, whoa, that is a lot. I mean, I coming from my personal experience, I've never been through something as crazy as that. Um, in the best way to ask this, at least what were some of the positives that came out of that? Because I know before we got on the pod, we were talking a lot about mindset.
Yeah.
And one of my questions was going to be later on how you were able to get this kind of mindset where it's all about attracting. It's all about, especially the words that you use. Like you were even calling me out and making sure that I was using the right words to describe your journey, which I respect. Tell me about how you were able to get that type of mindset. Was it from this experience? Was it from a combination of that with your situation with being homeless? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, bro, that 1 year of my life, it was like a year and some change. But like that was so character building. So character building. I had this book with me called Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. And I would read this book all the time, because I noticed a really big differentiator between the people that end up, going downhill. Like the people that are in that position, they can go two ways. They can go downhill, they can start using drugs and, like end up becoming a complete mess and never get out of it. And then there's people that manage to get themselves out. And the thing that differentiates them is a positive mental attitude or a negative mental attitude. Now, a lot of people, they'll find themselves in that situation. They'll get all grouchy. They'll be like, why did life give me these circumstances? I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna hold a state of frustration. I'm gonna blame. I'm gonna like they come up with all of these like disempowering things, and they're doing it to themselves, bro. They're making it harder on themselves. Me, right? Like, I'm like, look, if I want to get out of this, I have to be positive, right? My situation can be absolute dog shit, but I gotta be positive, bro. I gotta look at that dog shit and be like, hey, you know what? I'll put some sprinkles and fucking whipped cream on it, and maybe it'll look nicer. So yeah, just extreme positivity, bro. Like, really, when I fractured C7 in my neck and I was like helpless and homeless, and I was in a shelter, right? I was in a youth shelter. And dude, I couldn't even get up to take a piss. Like that's when I really had to reflect and like just be like super grateful, like, yo, I'm alive. Like I'm alive. And if I'm alive, like I can build this back up. I'm lucky that I live in a country where, if you become homeless, like they have these resources for you, like homeless shelters and food banks and stuff like that. And I just started counting my blessings, counting all these little things and just showing gratitude every single day and keeping my eye on what I want rather than focusing on the negative and what I don't want. And that was the thing that just helped me get through.
Awesome. Awesome. And on that same topic, to keep such a strong mental fortitude, are there any daily practices or any just routines that you have that help instill that and keep that message and mindset fresh in your head?
Yeah, daily gratitudes. You should always be thinking about things that you're grateful of. We could encompass all of this under meditation, right? Meditation essentially is just, like being in your thoughts and like controlling and directing your thoughts to something empowering. So like in my meditations, I think about gratitude, I think about forgiveness, I think about, my future and my goals. I hold that feeling of my future, my goals. I imagine like a cleansing white light or blue light or whatever I feel like at the moment, like wash over me and like clean me out of all negativity. And doing that actually helps me be far more productive than when I skip it. Whenever I skip it, I like end up, being crap for the day. But when I do that, I'm far more productive.
Awesome. Awesome. I absolutely love that message, and I just love everything you just said, man. Honestly, because I struggled a lot in this business because of mindset. I started when I was 18 years old,
Mm-hmm.
just out of high school. The reason I got into this business was because I literally had nothing else going for me. I had a bad GPA. I did not want to go to college. I had nothing to major in college, and I one day watched a Graham Stephan YouTube video about
Mm-hmm.
rental properties, and then stuff just kind of happened from there. Got an internship, got into wholesale, and then I've just been going strong with it for the last 5 years and being now an investor myself. And the biggest times in my journey where I've had the most growth came from my ability to have a strong mindset. And like what you told me uh, um, before we started the podcast was, instead of trying and having this mindset of trying and trying to reach for something that I don't have, having it manifest into my life. And that may sound like the same thing to somebody that has never talked about mindset or never really thought about mindset or meditated on it. But there's a big difference between trying to get something, or chasing something, and believing that you're worthy of that thing and that thing coming to you.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And
trying is like lingering in a state of not having.
yeah,
You can't
that's
have something when you're lingering in a feeling of not having it.
exactly. And that's not to say for the audience that hard work doesn't pay off. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. But what I am trying to say is that hard work is a lot different when you know that you are worth something versus trying to figure out if that's something you're even worth getting while still working for it. Because if that's the case, why are you even doing it?
I think a good way to illustrate it is like, you can work hard, but repel success through a negative mental attitude. So I'll give you an example. I went through this phase where I was self-sabotaging like crazy, bro. I literally called 60,000 agents in Florida on an auto dialer, but I self-sabotaged with almost every single one of them. Why? As soon as I would hear the slightest objection, I would hang up on them. Beep, right? And I was live streaming the whole thing, and I would claim, I'd be like, oh yeah, just trying to be efficient. Yeah. Uh, People would send me a deal and I would procrastinate on it. I would, not underwrite it for a really long time. Or when I do underwrite it, I would look for all the reasons why it's not a deal, right? And really what I found is like I had this negative mental attitude. I had this disempowering self-image of like Nathan is not worthy. Nathan's just some broke kid, that like all of this previous identity trauma that was holding me back. And I was subconsciously self-sabotaging. So though I was working really freaking hard and I was clocking the hours, I had a mental state of unworthiness. I had a mental state of like, this is not me. I am an imposter. I was feeling like a fraud because I didn't believe myself to be worthy. I didn't believe myself to be that guy. And then where things really changed is once I believed myself to be that guy. Now, people watching this, you're either going to take this one or two ways. You're either going to totally agree, or you're going to be like, how can you be that guy when you're not that guy? So if you're one of the people that are watching this and you're thinking like, how can I be that guy if I don't have, the actual physical, tangible results of I'm that guy? Well, it's kind of a faith thing, right? You have to like practice feeling what it would feel like to be that guy in order to become that guy. And if you can't just do that, you're not going to become that guy.
Right. It's not like the that guy never ever thought that he was that guy before he became it. Because if that was the case, then he would never have ever done the things to become that guy.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense to the audience.
Exactly.
And I agree with 100% again with what you're saying. And now I want to really talk about some of the tactical things. So I want to talk about your first deal and then kind of what you're doing today. So your first deal, you said it was in Cleveland, Ohio, and
Yeah.
you were live streaming all of this going on at that time, or
That
not
part,
yet?
that first part, no. When I got back into it, that's when I was like, I'm gonna live stream everything. So the
Okay.
first deal, bro, I'll be honest, I tried so many different things, and I don't even know exactly where I got that lead from. And I was too scared to ask him because I didn't want to fumble the bag. So try yeah, that's my
So,
answer, bro. I don't know for sure.
so talk to me about how you found the lead, how you got the deal, how you found the buyer, and how you got that
Yeah.
deal closed.
I tried many different marketing strategies from like posting ads on Craigslist, We Buy Houses ads on Craigslist, cold calling, did a little bit of SMS blasting, like face. Dude, I literally tried like almost everything. And I don't know for sure where I got that lead from. And I didn't have the balls to ask him where he came from because I didn't want to fumble the deal. And then I just, in Facebook groups, I was just like collecting a whole big list of people's emails that claimed that they were cash buyers. They weren't, most of them weren't actually cash buyers. But I sent out a mass email to all of these people and I CC'd them all, not BCC'd. I CC'd them all. So that's the most rookie mistake you can make. And I'm pretty sure it was a wholesaler that brought me the deal. I got to dig up the HUD, but this dude, I'm pretty sure he wasn't a cash buyer. I'm pretty sure he just like brought me the buyer on that deal. And originally I had it locked up for $20,000. And then the buyer told me that he wanted it at like 10,000 or something like that. I don't know. Either way, I retraded it and I made $1,500. I don't remember the exact numbers. It was kind of a long time ago. 4072 Colgate Avenue, I'm pretty sure it was. Maybe I can Google it actually. 4072 Colgate Ave, Cleveland. Let's see here. Nope, I can't find it here. I don't know how I dig it up, bro. It's a long time ago.
Cleveland, Ohio, first deal, and it was a $1,500 profit.
Yeah, it was like super small, but it was proof of concept. I was like super
Right.
happy. I was like,
Right.
you know what? This is legit.
So how did you take that and turn that first deal into being able to do consistent deals every single month?
Interesting, because I did have that big homeless period in between. So when I got back into it, I went through a bit of that self-sabotaging behavior as well when I got back into it, right? That's where I was like live streaming myself, like, building it again. Um, and it took me like, okay, so I did one deal right away after getting back into it. And then I had like this 6 month of like imposter syndrome, just, absolute like terrible, not really getting anything done. I'm part of Astro Flipping. I'm really good friends with Jameel, and he would constantly hound mindset, right? Doing the foundational work. Now I was like, oh man, I don't want to waste time doing the foundational work. I just want to go make the calls, right? I'm gonna make the calls. Like, I don't have time to do this foundational work. I could use that hour making calls. Turns out doing the foundational work actually helps you get your deals faster. And when I say the foundational work, I mean mindset, believing in yourself, meditation, affirmation, whatever it is to empower yourself. You got to do that. You can't skip the foundational work. And once I finally like came to realization that that's why I was failing and I started doing the foundational work, that's where I started to get consistency. That's where I started to attract these opportunities and no longer repel them, because for those 6 months after getting back into it, I was repelling them like crazy. Like I was saying, I was hanging up on agents way too quickly. I was neglecting to underwrite deals. I was looking for every single reason why it wasn't a deal rather than looking for a reason why it was a deal. And once I had that flip in mentality and started doing the foundational work, that's where things really started to pick up and I started to see a lot of results.
Awesome. Awesome. And how long would you say when you got back into the real estate business after your break and you were starting to, use digital marketing to your advantage from starting till you started seeing consistent deal flow? How long was that period, you'd say?
I had about 6 months of sucking live as well.
So it was 6 months.
Yeah. Like, so I got a deal right away, getting back into it, which kind of like a quick win and like super big
Right.
adrenaline rush. But then I had like 6 months of imposter syndrome before like I started to see consistency in my business.
Gotcha. And so if we were to fast forward to today, how's your business looking like today? Talk to us about how you're finding deals, how your team is built, and what you guys are doing in today's day.
Yeah. So I'm super grateful for my team. I have a full-time underwriter. I have an executive assistant that manages my social media and creative stuff. I have a full-time editor. I have a part-time admin, and I have a business partner. So what we were doing is we were ripping MLS offers and we were closing about 2 deals per month. But come towards the end of the year, I'm like, guys, I'm tired of working really, really hard. I want to work smart. So I want to build a team. So um, the month of us recording this is February. But December of last year is when I started firing anybody that was a poor performer, hiring A+ players, and I started revamping my strategy. So I'm like, look, I can work really, really hard and I can close, approximately 2 deals a month. Doing MLS offers, but how do I scale this? Because I don't want to be stuck in my business. I want to have an actual business, not a job. So we've explored a couple of different routes. We've explored hiring people onto the team, whether it's an American or a virtual assistant. And both of those, we found them to be very hard to scale, very time consuming to scale. So we tried that in January and it kind of didn't really work that well. So I went back to the drawing board and I'm like, okay, what am I doing really, really well? Well, I do JV deals as well. And I connect with my audience. I have a very big audience. I get approximately 250,000 reach across my platforms every single month. So why don't I use that to my advantage? I already love creating content. I already love connecting with wholesalers. Why don't I just close more deals with wholesalers? So after speaking with Jamil Damji and a couple other business consultants, they're like, yo, you got like a 2.5 times multiplier on MLS offers, but you have like a 5 times multiplier on wholesaler JVs. So why are you putting all of your resources into the MLS offers when you could put these resources into JVs? So what we're doing going forward is we host these monthly wholesale boot camps where we take people from analysis paralysis to like actually taking massive levels of action. We get them up and running, making MLS offers in the Florida market, and we get them to send those deals to us for JVs. And as soon as I open the doors up to like telling everybody like, hey guys, look, we're full-time micro flipping now. We want to be your best dispo outlet, whether it's free underwriting, EMD funding, contracts, buy prices, boots on the ground, literally whatever it is, you let us know and we'll take care of you. Dude, so many people have been DMing me and like super enthusiastic and very, very grateful for that. So I'm looking forward to this being the catalyst for us to scale dramatically, because think about it. 100+ people a month come to those wholesale boot camps. Dude, how fast can I grow my JV network with that versus spending 3 weeks to find some mediocre person that I could hire on my team?
Right. You know what I would like to do? I would like to see. Hopefully, in a year from now, we can look back at this podcast and we can see how that turned out. From 100 people every single month turning into your boot camp and becoming successful wholesalers because they got your help to dispo. And by the way, dispo is a lot harder than people think it is. People think dispo is just putting out deals to an email list.
Mm-hmm.
It is so much harder, especially when you have multiple transactions going on. It is not just putting deals out to a buyer's list. Talk to me about how you're dispoing your deals. What your process is for not just putting your deals out to your buyers, but other stuff that you're helping wholesalers with. Because I know you mentioned boots on ground, EMD funding, being able to underwrite these deals. Talk to us about the process you have for being able to dispo at such a volume.
Yeah. So I kind of suck at dispo, to be honest, but I have a business partner that's really good at it. So that's why business partners are really important. I am really good at connecting with wholesalers. So I might as well spend my time connecting with wholesalers. My business partner is really good at connecting with buyers. He's on the ground. He's an agent as well. So he might as well spend his time connecting with buyers. So here's our process. We get a deal. Y'all will talk with me. I'll process your deal. If it's actually a deal, we'd like to blast it out. So then I pass it to my business partner. My business partner sends it out to all of our buyers that are buying of that criteria. And then we can see whenever they click on the picture link. So as soon as they click on the picture link, ring, ring. Hey, what's up, bro? I saw that you were interested in that deal. Like, you want me to get you access? And we're on it, bro. We're so on it. So literally anybody that shows the slightest bit of interest by clicking that picture link, boom, call right away. And then adding 20 buyers a day on top of that. So with that, I mean, if it's a deal, it's a deal and it's going to sell. If it's not a deal, it's not going to sell.
I love it. I love it. So how did you find your dispo partner? And then part two to that question is, how did you guys know how to separate roles, and what was the process of separating your guys' roles? Did you guys just know from the beginning, like, hey, I'm good at dispo, I'm good at connecting with acquisition wholesalers, or was it a process?
Yeah. So this partner of mine, he has been nurturing me as a lead for a really, really long time. For quite some time, he's been trying to do business with me. He's been trying to be my business partner. And I've kind of been like, hey, man, not really ready. I was like, had a previous business partner trying to just, be able to do it on my own. But I found that like it's really hard to juggle both acquisitions and dispositions as one person. Good luck. Good luck. So eventually, I brought him into the business. At first, we kind of like struggled to find him like a really good place in the business. So after exploring a couple of different placements in different roles in the business, we ended up finding that like he kicks ass at dispo. Like buyers really like him. He's a straight shooter. He's an agent. So like he not only can help me sell the deals and make money selling the deals, but bro, he can make money representing them as well. So after the flip, he can represent them.
Awesome.
Yeah, just trial and error.
Awesome. And so now on your side, because you're doing mostly the social media stuff, what are some of the tactics and ways that you're leveraging social media, kind of more on a administrative side, stuff that maybe some people on Instagram or TikTok may not able to see on a screen, that you're using to help effectively generate and gather people into your community?
Yeah. So number one biggest thing is consistency. If you're not consistent on social media, boom, down the drain. So show up consistently. Your content can be crap. If you show up consistently, you will end up having viewers. Your content will improve over time. There's a couple of like specific strategies that I use. So like I hyper target people inside of paid mentorships. Why? Because they're a high quality lead, right? Why would I go and target people inside of a free Facebook REI group when I can target people inside of an REI group where they paid $10,000 to be there? They obviously got a lot more skin in the game. So if you're looking to grow your social media really fast, specifically on Facebook, because that's where my widest audience is get yourself into those REI groups. I would highly recommend going with paid ones and just start friending every single person in that REI group. And if you want to get a little bit more cream of the crop, only friend the people that like and comment on other people's stuff inside the group. Why? Because then you're going to have an incredibly engaged audience. So I focused on that. I really neglected the free groups. I was part of paid groups and I focused on those people. And like my engagement rate is absolutely insane. Like I have over a 30% engagement rate. Number one, because I show up consistently. Number two, because I specifically targeted, high value people that are in my niche that are also engaging on other influencer stuff. So that's a big hack of mine.
I love that. Mm-hmm. And so So tactics in the business that I want to talk to you about are agents, because I know you said that you were dialing agents, and you told me offline that you've now since gotten rid of that.
Yep,
So
we removed agents and now we're focusing on wholesalers, and we're
okay.
going to help wholesalers make more MLS offers and then sell their deals. So that, because if I can get 100 wholesalers all making MLS offers and I can empower them to, put properties under contract with my support and then just sell them,
Mhm.
damn, dude, we can scale so much faster.
Yes, and when was it that you started this tactic in marketing?
Yeah, so we were kind of juggling both of them for a little bit. And I just realized, I'm like, look, like 5 hours of every single day is, going to agents, and like I could keep juggling them, but like I have a 2.5 times multiplier on agents and I have this 5 times multiplier on wholesalers. So if I can drop the agents and focus more on wholesalers, now I can blow it up really, really big. So January was our first boot camp. February is our second boot camp. The boot camp will be over by the time this is published, I'm sure, or at least the second cohort will be over. But yeah, it's and I've done some challenges for like other paid communities, so like I'm already familiar with like how to run these boot camps. It's super easy. It's just take people through 7 days of like exactly how I do my process and just empower them to like ramp the F up, and be there to dispo their deals.
Awesome. And when you say multipliers, for people that are not familiar with what that is, talk to them about what that means, a 2x multiplier versus a 5x multiplier, and how important that is.
Y'all ever play video games or like Subway Surfers, for example? So on Subway Surfers, you got like you get your normal, like if you hit coins, you get 1 coin for each coin that you hit, right? But if you have a 2 times multiplier, dude, you get 2 coins for every coin that you hit. So like with MLS offers, I'm really good at it. Okay, I'm good at it. I can close about 2 deals a month with MLS offers, no problem. So I consider myself, this is just a random number, but for illustration purposes, to have like a 2.5 times multiplier, right? But then wholesalers, I have like a 5 times multiplier. Why? Because I industry. I show up consistently. I train people. I help people. I freaking love wholesalers. I love pouring into them. So they're just like, yo, like, I want to do a deal with you, bro. You're a cool dude. And I'm like, you're a cool dude too. Let's do deals together.
I love it. I love it. So talk to us about where you want to take this to the future. I mean, obviously, it's to scale past 2 deals a month with your wholesalers through your boot camp to scale and do more deals. But is there a specific 3 or 5 year vision that you have for where you want this company to be?
Yeah. 3-year vision would be syndications, large multifamily syndications. And then 10-year vision is building houses on Mars. Yes, you heard that correctly. I truly believe that we have all the resources necessary to do that. And I think I would be an absolute dick if I didn't do, that for humanity. Because what if a meteor, bro, if a rock hits the earth really hard, we're dead like the dinos. And we literally have rocket ships. We literally have robots. We literally have AI. Why can't we build on Mars?
So what if we can't get to Mars in 10 years? I'm just playing devil's advocate.
We'll do it in 11.
Do it in 11.
Bro, you know how much technology has developed since the 1980s, dude? We
Yeah.
literally, bro, I don't even know when the first rocket landed on the moon, bro, but it was like probably like half a century ago. Like, yo, we didn't even have the iPhone back then.
Gotcha. And
I
so
think I think it's hard to not happen. Like the only thing that's preventing us from doing it is like nobody having the enthusiasm and the balls to take it on.
well, except you and Elon.
Yeah, but Elon's old, bro. Elon's old, dude. He's gonna croak. He's gonna croak sooner or later. And we got to keep this momentum going. He can help us establish infrastructure to get there. But are we just gonna stop there?
And so 3 years it's going to be syndicating multifamily. 10 years building houses on
Syndicating
Mars,
Mars.
syndicating Mars, and then
Yeah.
for this year, is there any goals that you have, since it is technically still the beginning of the year? Where do you want to see things at the end of 2025?
By the end of 2025, I want to build a $1 million net business and then donate $100,000 of that to homelessness to help people that were once in the position that I was in.
I love that, man. I love that.
Yeah.
So talk to us about your why. Why are you doing this? What's the point of trying to scale to that large of a level?
What's the point in scaling to that large of a level? I mean,
Yeah, what is your why?
yeah, like, do you not want to do something exciting? Like, why settle for something boring? Like, why it's like a house and kids? Like, whoop-de-doo. Like, everybody's got a house and kids, man. I want adventure. I want excitement. I want the most meaningful contribution to humanity. That's my why. I really just want to do epic shit, and like, I want to make a really meaningful contribution. And I truly believe that as humans we have infinite potential, and we set our place on the totem pole. So like, I'm going to mentally set my place incredibly high. And look, if for some reason I don't achieve my goal before I died, so what? I died having fun working towards a pretty freaking awesome goal.
Right. Right. I love that. I love that. And
Why settle
so
for less?
I love it. What if somebody wants to find out where you're at, on YouTube or on Instagram, they want to be a part of your challenge, how do they do that?
Yeah. So I would recommend adding me on Instagram. And we purposely create content to funnel you into this challenge. So add me on Instagram, nathan.w.k.harris. That's Nathan, Nathan .w.k.harris. And yeah, like, from there, like, you'll be funneled to like my YouTube, my Facebook, everything. We're pretty good on the digital marketing.
And when is your next boot camp on YouTube?
February 4th is the next one, but we do one every single month at the beginning of every single month.
Got it. Is it always on the 4th?
No. It was actually supposed to be for Monday, but I mixed up the dates. I thought Monday was the 4th, but when the 3rd was Monday. So whatever, I'm human. I make mistakes. But yeah, it's the first week of every single month.
So every first of the month, you guys, and it is a 7-day challenge essentially, or a 7-day boot camp.
Yeah,
where
7 days. 7 days hardcore, like taking people from analysis paralysis to taking massive levels of action. And what I want to see by the end of the boot camp is you're fully empowered to just slam out MLS offers all day long. And it's literally going to be only a matter of time until you close a deal. So my KPIs with MLS offers are, out of approximately 150 offers, I close a deal. So let's say you're starting out, right? Let's say you kind of suck when you're starting out. It's normal. I sucked when I first started out. Let's just say it takes you 200 MLS offers to close a deal. 10 offers a day, baby. 10 offers a day. 20 work days in a month. Bro, in 1 month, you should have something lined up if you're actually taking effort, and if you're actually like, underwriting your properties right. If you suck at underwriting, it's obviously going to take you way longer. But yeah.
Right. Awesome. And that is, you're the first person on the podcast that I've seen have a model like that. Obviously, a lot of people that I've had on the podcast have followings on social media, but I feel like they're in their own as sort of like active niche, whereas like they're actively, or they have a team that's actively dialing agents or actively searching through wholesalers, not necessarily collecting them like through a piece of media, but more so just outreach. You're the first person, and I'm grateful to have you, that is doing a model that, number one, I've never really seen before, at least seen be done in the way that you're doing it. And number two is so open to share about it. So I really like that, and I just love everything about it, man. So
Thank you, man.
Any final thoughts before we end this?
Here is my final thoughts. And for everybody that is watching, pull out a pen or pull out your notes and write this down. Okay? I'll give you a moment. 3, 2, 1. Okay, now I'm going to say it, and you better write it down. If you don't write it down, this might be a reason why you give up. Here's something that I want you to remember. Persistence is my insurance policy against failure. The cost is showing up every day and making incremental improvements. I'm going to say that one more time for you guys. If you have to rewind it, rewind it. There's a rewind button. Persistence is my insurance policy against failure. And the cost is showing up every day and making incremental improvements. You will either 1, succeed, or 2, you'll die trying and you'll be happy because you were working towards a mission. So be persistent, continue to show up, continue to make incremental improvements, and it's really hard to fail.
I love it, man. I love it.
And follow me on Instagram, nathan@nathan.w.k.harris.
Where's some other places where they can follow you? Can you give a link to or a tag to your YouTube as well so they can follow you and see your challenge?
Yeah. If you go on YouTube and you search up Nathan Harris and then like the keyword REI, like I'm pretty darn good on the SEO. So you'll see me there at the top. It's an astronaut pic, of course. Me in an astronaut suit.
Awesome. And I'll have all of his links, guys, in the description. That way you can click on it and see both his Instagram, YouTube, all that. Nathan, I really appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for coming on here. Guys, this is the Real Tales Podcast. I'll catch you next time. I'll see you guys.